Hey, my name is Dawson, and welcome to That 70s Renovation. I have been working really hard on updating the exterior of my home to not look quite as abandoned. And I posted a video a couple days ago showing you some of the more budget-friendly things that I did to the space, like updating the concrete on the porch, painting the front door and the garage door, and those made a big difference. But in this video, I want to show you a little bit more of the bigger scale things that I did that cost a little bit more money but were well worth the investment. That being adding a giant garden bed under the front windows of the house, replacing the mailbox, and also replacing the front door, which I know I had just painted, but trust me, it was worth it. You will see in the video why I needed to replace that. So without further ado, let's get started. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any updates from my 70s renovation. This is the front yard of my house, and because the grass goes all the way up to the actual house, it kind of looks like my house is sinking. So my plan and my hope is that if I add a garden bed underneath these two windows in the front of the house, it will kind of add a little bit of definition and help break up the two spaces between each other and just make it look a little bit more polished and purposeful. Step one of adding my garden bed was to remove the grass from where I want the plants to be. I decided to rent this little tool called a mantis tiller for the weekend from Home Depot, and essentially what this does is it breaks up all the roots of the grass, and it also tills up the soil so that it's easier to plant something in here. And I will say one little caveat, I was using it wrong at first. I was pushing it in front of me, but it really started to work better when I started pulling it towards me. So this, like I said, breaks up all the roots, it gets that ground tilled up so it's a lot easier to plant. But my one caveat is it doesn't actually kill the grass unless you like smother the grass with something. So after I did that step and I figured out exactly where I wanted things to be, I put down this layer of weed barrier because this will actually kill the grass and make sure it doesn't come through. Now this is, I guess, kind of like maybe a controversial product because some people say it works, some people say it doesn't. I did this a couple weeks ago and it seems to be working just fine for me so far, but I will obviously report back and let you know if it doesn't work. But after I got that down, I started putting on this little no dig edging to the front of the planter. I just wanted to add something here so it could kind of hold back all the mulch. And this was really easy to put in with a couple stakes, a rubber mallet, and then it's also flexible. So I was able to make these kind of curved designs on the garden bed. And then I ended up just kind of wrapping it around the house and poking it over here onto the little corner around the side. After picking up all my plants, it was time to figure out where I wanted to put everything, and once I decided that, I needed to cut holes in that weed barrier so I could put the plants in there. And then I also rented this tool called a one-man auger from Home Depot for the weekend, and this was super easy to dig all of my holes. Now, I will just say, make sure you know that there's no power lines or water lines or anything under where you're digging. Obviously, call 311 if you are going to be using something like this. But it really made it so much easier to dig all the holes. I don't think I'm ever going to use a shovel again. So I decided actually to use ChatGPT to help me plant all my plants. I was at the store and I would type in the names of my plants into ChatGPT and just ask it if this worked well in Austin, how much water it needed, how much light. And I ended up picking kind of a variety of plants, some that will grow taller to fill in the space between the windows and like in front of those bricks, and then some lower ones in front of the windows. And honestly, I'm really happy with how this layout is turning out. And then I decided, since I'm already working here, I should add a little automatic drip watering system because I'm pretty bad at remembering to water things, and this is just going to make it so much easier. So I bought this little kit package from Home Depot, and then it comes with everything you need. It comes with that big tube that supplies the water, and then all these little nozzles that drip the water out of it. And you can get really custom with it. They sell a bunch of different accessories. I kind of went for like the basic version. And then after that was done, I covered everything up with mulch. I wanted to put that water line underneath the mulch because I've heard that if it's exposed in the sun, it could kind of crack or degrade over time. So that's why I did it first, and then I went with the mulch. And I'm glad I added that little edge around the planter because it really helps hold the mulch in and not really like fly all over the grass. Because I already had the auger rented for that garden bed, I decided now would be a great time to also add in a new mailbox because you have to dig a really big hole for that, and this will just make it so much easier. So after a few good swings on the mailbox, that old one came out very quickly, and then I used that auger to dig a deep hole. I believe it was 18 inches or so. If you have a very rocky soil, the auger might not be the best tool for you. Mine caught on a little rock actually at one point, and then it started spinning and I had to let go. Thankfully, I was able to let go in time, but it was a little bit scary. Talk to the people who you rent it from to see if it's actually a good idea for your type of project. The best part of this is that you don't have to pre-mix any concrete to add a new mailbox post. I just dropped my post in the ground and then I poured a bag of dry concrete in there, and then you just add a little bit of water at a time to get it fully saturated, and then it will just dry in place. This whole process took less than an hour to do. You just want to make sure you use a level to keep the post straight up and down while it's drying, and so that it doesn't like move around or anything. Once that was dry, I added just a little bit of soil back on top of the concrete so you couldn't tell that it was there, and then I bolted on my new mailbox. I love this thing because it comes with a key, so no one can actually like grab your mail out of there or steal it or anything like that. This was such a quick 1 hour project and made such a difference to the curb appeal of the house. After redoing all the floors and the hallway in my house, which I'll show you in another video, I decided I needed to do something about this front door because it wasn't really sealing properly anymore. So I had a little plastic thing there covering that up, but then, you know, at the top, you can still see through. The door's locked right now, but it still like rattles. And actually a snake got through this corner. What do I do with that? Literally, what do I do with that? I have taped the door. I don't know what else to do. I am sick to my stomach. If you need me, I will be putting this house on the market. Step 1 is to cut the caulking with a utility knife. That just makes sure that you don't mess up the paint when you start pulling off the trim. And then I used my trim puller to take all the trim off. This is such a cool tool that I will link below. I've used it a million times, but I always find new uses for it, like today taking off all this trim from the outside. After I got all that trim off, I decided just to pop off the door because that was going to make it so much easier to remove the rest of the frame. Obviously, this is going to make it very easy for the bugs to get inside, so I actually put a little plastic wall in the hallway, so hopefully they won't just come flooding in throughout this project. I think there was less than 10 screws holding this frame in place, so after I got all of those removed, I worked on taking off this little metal transition strip between the outside and the inside, which was super beaten up and gross, and I think also a reason why some of the bugs were getting in because the plastic was kind of messed up on it. So once I took that off of there, the door frame just easily popped out of place, and then I spent a long time cleaning everything, vacuuming it up, and just getting it ready to bring the new door over, which I also had to do a little bit of work on to kind of get that unwrapped and ready to go. Now I got to figure out how to get that over there by myself. It's very heavy. All right. I'll lift with your legs. There's some handles on the side of it, which definitely help. Oh, good grief. What are they putting in this thing? Oh my gosh. So heavy. I think it's gonna work. Ah, incredible. I could tell you that's crooked. After getting the door in place, you start using a lot of wood shims to kind of make sure that it stays level and plumb before screwing the frame into the studs of the wall. Let me just say this right now, buy more shims than you think that you need. I ended up using a lot more than I thought I would, and I'm glad that I had some extras on hand. It opens. And it closes. And you can still see me because there's a window now. I'm exhausted. I need some water. I decided just to reuse the old handle and lock from my door, so I took that off the old one, and then I had to drill a couple holes into the new door to put the lock in there. That was a little bit stressful, obviously drilling a hole into a brand new door, not a great feeling, but I figured it out and it closes perfectly and looks so good with that black handle against the wood door. It's about to start raining, so I have to kind of stop for tonight, but I got the door installed, the knobs and lock installed, and then I bought some spray foam from the store to put in the gaps, but it didn't come with the little nozzle, so I need to go back, return that, get a new one. But I'm going to do that tonight so no bugs can get in here, but I feel so good. Okay, plot twist. I think I maybe added too much foam here because it pushed the threshold down, so now the door doesn't close very well there. So I think I'm gonna have to try to take some of it out.
Once I fixed that weird spray film issue, it was time to just wrap up this project by adding a little bit of door trim. Obviously, I couldn't reuse what was there before because it came off in pieces, so I grabbed a couple new boards from Lowe's and then I just cut them on my miter saw. I don't know what this stuff is made of. I don't think it's actually wood. I think it's something a little bit more durable for the outdoors, and it was really easy to cut. And then I did have to get a little creative with some of the parts because the trim wasn't laying flat, so I had to add a couple shims in there and then add the trim on top of that. But honestly, this makes it look so much better. Alright, here's a refresher of what everything looked like when we started this video. The front of the house honestly looked like it was sinking into the yard with no definition between the grass and the walls. And here's what it looks like now with my new garden bed. I can't wait to see what it looks like when all those plants get a little bit bigger, and I think this was well worth the investment into the curb appeal. Again, my easiest part of this project was replacing the mailbox. The old one was nasty, rickety, rusty, and the new one just feels so much sturdier, safer because it's locked, and it just looks a million times better. And then obviously, probably the biggest change is the front door. This thing was so dark in the hallway. It was not sealed properly. Like I said, snakes were getting in here. And here's what it looks like now. The hallway is way brighter with this new door. The outside of the house looks way better, having a little wood accent here. And I'm honestly so proud that I was able to do that by myself and that it actually works and opens and closes.
If you like do-it-yourself projects and home renovations, make sure to hit that subscribe button because I'm remodeling my entire 1970s home by myself and sharing the journey here on YouTube with you, and you don't want to miss any updates. Next, I'm going to be trying to finish up work on my kitchen by doing a backsplash and a floating shelf, and it's going to look incredible. So you definitely don't want to miss that. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I actually have kind of a crazy goal to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, which sounds wild, but I'm determined to do it, and I need your help. So hit that button and I will see you for the next one. Thanks for watching.